Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. While the Congress raises a row over dates of the winter session, the Vice President weighs in on the issue, says it doesn't matter how long the session is, but how many days it functions. Amid protests against the film Padmavati, Vice President Naidu says that democracy supports freedom of expression, but no one can announce rewards on violent threats. President Rajnath Singh inaugurates a two-day conference on National Law Day, raises concern over low representation of SC, ST, OBCs and women in the judiciary. Pakistan defends its decision to release terrorist Hafiz Saeed. The country's foreign office says it is a duty bound to protect its citizens. And the death toll in the Egypt mosque blast crosses 300 while no group has taken responsibility yet. Egypt launches airstrikes on militants connected to the attack. Ahead of the upcoming winter session of Parliament, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said today that it doesn't matter how many days Parliament convenes. What matters is how many days it functions.
Parliament should function effectively. How effectively the Parliament functions, how meaningfully debate takes place on a variety of issues, and that is important. How many days Parliament sat is not the issue. How many days Parliament has functioned, that is the issue.
His remarks come a day after the government announced dates for Parliament's winter session amid criticism by the opposition for delaying the session. The government has, however, rejected the Congress party's tirade as a chorus of baseless allegations.
A war of words ensued between the government and the opposition Congress a day after the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs drew up the schedule for the winter session of Parliament. The Congress alleges that the government has delayed the session to avert debates on several contentious issues.
15 तारीख चुनी है मतदान खत्म होने के बाद, प्रचार खत्म होने के बाद नहीं, मतदान खत्म होने के बाद 15 दिसंबर का दिन चुना गया है। हम निंदा करते हैं सरकार की, बहुत बड़ा आघात हमारे संसदीय प्रजातंत्र पर पहुंचा है।
Taking on the Congress, Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Vijay Goyal insisted that previous governments, including the UPA, had scheduled sessions after state polls.
कांग्रेस तो कह रही थी कि वॉश आउट हो गया है, कि होगा ही नहीं है, तो सेशन तो हो रहा है। कांग्रेस कह रही थी कि कम दिनों का हो रहा है, तो कोई कम दिनों का नहीं हो रहा, पूरे 14 दिन के लिए सेशन हो रहा है जैसे पहले होता आया हुआ है जी। कांग्रेस कह रही थी कि डेमोक्रेसी के ऊपर, प्रजातंत्र के ऊपर काली छाया पड़ रही है। अब काली छाया तो उनको देखनी चाहिए कि इमरजेंसी के अंदर पड़ी थी, कोई अभी तो नहीं है। और ऐसा मनमोहन सिंह जी के समय में, ऐसा नरसिम्हा राव जी के समय में और ऐसा उससे पहले भी समय के अंदर हुआ है।
The winter session of Parliament will begin from the 15th of December and will conclude on the 5th of January. There would be a total of 14 working days after discounting Christmas and other holidays. The session is crucial as the government plans to bring a bill to end the practice of instant triple talaq and another bill to grant constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, amid the ongoing row over the film Padmavati, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said on Saturday that giving violent threats and announcing rewards for physical harm is not acceptable in a democracy. Speaking at a literary festival in Delhi, the Vice President said protests must be held in a democratic manner. He also warned against undermining the rule of law in the country. Although he stressed that he was not talking about one particular film, but in general. He cited several films that were previously banned, such as Garam Hawa, Kissa Kursi Ka and Andhi. The Vice President's remarks assume significance as they could come amid massive protests by many groups against Sanjay Leela Bansali's historical drama, Padmavati. The protesters allege that the film distorts history.
You have the right to protest in a democratic manner. Go to the appropriate authorities and complain to them. Take the recourse like that in a democratic way. But you can't physically obstruct and you can't give violent threats. That does not undermine the rule of law.
Well, the Vice President also inaugurated the All India Gandhian Constructive Works Conference in New Delhi. While addressing the conference, the Vice President said Mahatma Gandhi's message of cleanliness holds utmost importance.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu harped on the importance of groups like the Harijan Sevak Sangh, which helped stop the malpractice of caste divide in India. Talking about Mahatma Gandhi, the Vice President said that Bapu held cleanliness even above freedom.
गांधी जी ने कहा था, हिंदुस्तान में जो सबसे अधिक दुख में पड़े हैं उनको हरिजन कहना यथार्थ है। हरिजन का अर्थ है ईश्वर का भक्त, ईश्वर का प्यारा। हरिजन, हरि माने नॉर्मली हम लोग ईश्वर जी के बारे में बताते हैं।
The Vice President also talked about the importance of the contributions of each citizen towards nation building. He added that we can take our ancient culture to a new level only with people's participation.
ये संस्कृति जो भारतीय संस्कृति शुरू से हमारा लोगों ने आदिकाल से, वेद काल से, पुराण काल से पूर्वजों जिया और दिया, विरासत में उनको मिला। भारतीय संस्कृति, धर्म, इसी परंपरा को हम सब लोग मिलकर आगे ले जाना चाहिए।
The event organized by the Harijan Sevak Sangh was attended by various religious leaders and their followers. The two-day event will also see workshops on Gandhiji's ideologies. With Mohammad Fateh Tipu, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, President Rajnath Singh has expressed concern over the low representation of women, OBCs and SC/STs in the higher judiciary. Speaking at an event to mark National Law Day, the President said of the 17,000 judges in our subordinate courts, High Courts and the Supreme Court, only about 4,700, that is roughly 1 in 4, are women. He called on the judiciary to walk in pace with other public institutions in being representative of the diversity of our country. He said immediate steps must be taken in this regard.
This is the age of instant communication and technology. We must use these tools to speed up the justice delivery process. Expectations of our people are justifiably high, and only the judiciary has the capacity to fulfill them.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday reviewed the progress made to prevent undernutrition in India. The high-level review meeting was attended by officials from the Prime Minister's office, Niti Aayog and other ministries. The Prime Minister stressed on the need to work towards concrete objectives to reduce stunting, undernutrition, low birth weight and anemia. He emphasized that visible and measurable results should be seen by 2022, the year India celebrates its 75th Independence Day. Successful nutrition initiatives in some other developing countries also came up for discussion. During the meeting, senior officials told the Prime Minister that initiatives such as the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Mission Indradhanush, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao and the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana were having a positive impact on nutrition. The Prime Minister said there is a need to converge all schemes of the union and state governments which directly or indirectly have an impact on nutrition outcomes. According to the Global Nutrition Report 2017, India is facing a serious threat of undernutrition. It says 38% of the children in India under the age of 5 are affected by stunting, while 21% of those under 5 years of age are defined as wasted or severely wasted, meaning they do not weigh enough for their height. Rising rates of anemia in women of reproductive age is also a big concern. The report shows more than half of India's women suffer from anemia, a serious condition that can have long-term health impacts for both mother and child. The report also brings to light the crucial need to tackle the double burden of undernutrition and obesity. 16% of adult men and 22% of adult women in the country are overweight. Well, moving on now, Home Minister Rajnath Singh chaired the 12th Standing Committee meeting of the Interstate Council in the national capital today to discuss the recommendations of the Panchi Commission on Centre-State Relations. The Chief Ministers of Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Rajasthan also attended the meeting. The centre had on April 27, 2007 constituted the Panchi Commission under the chairmanship of former Chief Justice Madan Mohan Panchi to look into the new issues of centre-state relations, keeping in view the changes that have taken place in polity and economy. Well, another big news now. An off-duty Territorial Army jawan, Irfan Ahmad Dar, was abducted and killed by militants in Shopian district of South Kashmir. Dar's bullet-riddled body was recovered from an orchard on Saturday morning. According to officials, Dar was on leave till November 26th. The army suspects that the jawan was abducted and killed by terrorists. The matter is being investigated by the state police. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti and former Chief Minister Omar Abdullah also condemned the jawan's killing. It's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
One of the greatest exponents of Carnatic music, MS Subbalakshmi or MS to her fans. An icon even to a younger generation brought up on fusion and rock music. MS is the first musician ever to be awarded the Bharat Ratna, also the first Indian musician to receive the Raymond Magsaysay Award. As India's cultural ambassador, she also performed at the UN General Assembly in 1966. Former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru once said of MS, "Who am I, a mere Prime Minister, before a queen of music."
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Mihir Sen, an outstanding and extraordinary saltwater swimmer of India. He is the first Asian to swim the English Channel way back in 1958. And just 8 years later, in 1966, he swam the 7 seas of the 5 continents in 1 calendar year, which etched his name in the Guinness Book of World Records. In 1959, he was also conferred the Padma Shri, and in 1967, he was awarded the Padma Bhushan.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
मिहिर सेन, इंग्लिश चैनल पार करने वाले पहले एशियाई तैराक। डार्डनेलेस जल डमरू मध्य पार करने वाले दुनिया के पहले इंसान। 1966 में 1 साल के भीतर 7 समुंदर पार करने का अनूठा रिकॉर्ड है पेशे से वकील सेन के नाम। और तो और, भारत के इस सफलतम तैराक ने गिनीज बुक में दर्ज कराए हैं कुल 5 विश्व कीर्तिमान।
ठुकराओ अब प्यार करो, मैं 70 का हूँ.
18 days that he was in coma. All through those 18 days, doctors यही दिलासा देते रहे कि नहीं, any day, any time he may come out. और आखिर में नहीं हुआ.
अभी भी तो मैं रो रहा हूँ उसके लिए. ऐसा आदमी नहीं मिलेगा. बल्ले बल्ले तेरी मेरी, वो तेरी मेरी, वो तेरी.
He, in the true sense of the word, he is a real gem for India.
एक बौछार था वो शख्स, बिना बरसे किसी अब्र की सहमी सी नमी से जो भिगो देता था.
देखिए सारे जग को जीतकर कैसे खामोशी से चला गया जगजीत.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Pakistan on Saturday justified the release of Mumbai terror attack mastermind and JUD chief Hafiz Saeed. Pakistan's Foreign Office claimed that Islamabad was committed to the implementation of UNSC sanctions regime on terrorists, adding that it has taken several steps in this regard. In a statement, Pakistani Foreign Office spokesperson Mohammad Faisal said that the courts in Pakistan were determined to uphold the rule of law and due process for all citizens of Pakistan. His statement comes following massive condemnation from India as well as the United States over the release of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa head and LET founder. Designated as a global terrorist by the US and the UN, Saeed carries a $10 million bounty on his head for terror activities. His release comes just days ahead of the 9th anniversary of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, in which 166 people were killed. Well, one police personnel was killed and over dozens injured on Saturday in clashes across Pakistan after security forces launched a crackdown on sit-in protests by religious hardliners in Islamabad. Pak authorities have also ordered all private television channels to go off air. The protests have spread to other main cities including Karachi, Lahore, Rawalpindi and Peshawar.
A police personnel was killed and over 50 security officials injured after a nationwide protest spread across Pakistan on Saturday, with the police and paramilitary enforcing a crackdown on Islamist protesters in Islamabad. As per the reports, dozens of protesters also sustained injuries. The clashes began when police launched an operation to disperse around 1,000 activists of Tehreek-e-Labbaik, a new hardline Islamist political party. The hardliners have blocked the main routes into Islamabad for more than 2 weeks. Police used tear gas and water cannons to disperse the crowd. The protests have spread to other cities too, with party supporters taking it out of Islamabad. While hundreds of protesters blocked roads using vehicles in Gujranwala, protesters used burning tires to do the same in Hafizabad. Meanwhile, power and internet services have been suspended in many cities.
सुन्नत और हमारे कायदीन जो इस्लामाबाद में एक जायज़ मुतालबा जो ख़त्म नबूवत पर डाका डालने वालों के ख़िलाफ़ हो रहा है, उस पर हुकूमत का ज़ालिमाना इक़दाम जो ऑपरेशन जारी है उसके ख़िलाफ़ हम एहतजाज करते हैं और हुकूमत पर लानत भेजते हैं और हमारा मुतालबा है कि फिलफौर ऑपरेशन बंद कर दिया जाए.
As protests spread across the main cities of Pakistan, authorities ordered private television channels to go off air. The Pakistan Electronic Media Regulatory Authority issued a notification prohibiting live coverage of the Faizabad sit-in operation. The protesters have been demanding the resignation of Law Minister Zahid Hamid for the changes to an electoral oath, saying it amounts to blasphemy. The government has put the issue down to a clerical error. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, in Egypt, the death toll in a bomb and gun attack on a Sufi mosque in northern Sinai has risen to 305, with 27 children among the dead. Another 128 people were injured, according to a statement from the public prosecutor. Government officials have confirmed that 25 to 30 armed men carried out the assault on the Al-Rawda Sufi mosque in Bir al-Abeid during Friday prayers. There has not yet been a claim of responsibility from any group, but the Egyptian government has claimed that it has carried out airstrikes on militants responsible for the attack. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has vowed to respond to the massacre believed to be the deadliest terror attack on the country's soil with brute force. Well, here are some updates from across the world in Global Buzz. Argentine President Mauricio Macri ordered a serious investigation into the circumstances of the missing submarine Ara San Juan, which vanished on November 15th in the South Atlantic with 44 crew members on board. The president made the remarks at the Argentine Navy headquarters in Buenos Aires. He promised to continue to the search with the vast amount of international support Argentina has received, adding that better results are anticipated in the next couple of days. US President Donald Trump today called his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan and discussed implementing a UN Security Council resolution for the peaceful settlement to the Syrian crisis and defeat of the ISIS terror group. Trump reaffirmed the strategic partnership between the United States and Turkey, particularly in combating terrorism in all its forms and fostering regional stability. Ireland's minority government looks set to collapse within days after the party propping it up submitted a motion of no confidence in the Deputy Prime Minister weeks before a summit on Britain's plans to leave the European Union. Prime Minister Leo Varadkar said that if the motion was not withdrawn by Tuesday, he would be forced to hold an election before Christmas. As per EU officials, it would complicate a key EU summit on December 14th and 15th on Brexit. And some sports news now, where India were on 312 for 2 at stumps on the second day of the second test in Nagpur. Centuries from Murli Vijay and Cheteshwar Pujara helped India take a 107-run lead over Sri Lanka. The batsmen put on a 209-run partnership for the second wicket. Vijay scored his 10th century in Test cricket, while Pujara scored his 14th ton, which was his 4th against Sri Lanka. Vijay got out on 128 by spinner Rangana Herath, but Pujara was still at the crease on 121 runs, with skipper Virat Kohli on 54 not out. Here are some other updates from the world of sports in SportsBeat. Ritu Phogat won the silver medal in the Under-23 Senior World Wrestling Championship in Poland. She lost her gold medal bout of the women's 48kg category against her Turkish opponent, Evin Demirhan. Ritu had won the national championship in indoor this month. She also won a bronze medal at the Asian Championships in May this year. Indian women boxers Jyoti Gulia, Shashi Chopra and Ankushita Boro have entered the finals of the AIBA Youth Women's World Boxing Championship in Guwahati. Jyoti defeated Kazakhstan's Zhansaya Abdradaimova in the 51kg category and will face Russia's Ekaterina Molchanova in the final, while Shashi defeated Mongolia's Namun Monkor in the 57kg category to face Vietnam's Do Hong Ingok. Ankushita Boro beat Thailand's Tanch-Nok Sak-Sri in the 64kg category. Qatar's high jumper Mutaz Essa Barshim and Belgium's heptathlete Nafissatou Thiam were named male and female world athletes of the year by the International Association of Athletics Federation in Monaco. Barshim was unbeaten in 11 competitions in 2017 and won gold at the World Championships, while Thiam won the world title and broke the 7,000 points barrier with her 7,013 points in Austria. Jo Wilfried Tsonga beat Steve Darcis 6-3, 6-2, 6-1 to bring France level at 1-1 with Belgium in the Davis Cup final. He missed several early break changes but came back quickly to demolish Darcis. Earlier, David Goffin gave Belgium a 1-0 lead by defeating Lucas Pauli 7-5, 6-3, 6-1. Argentina and Barcelona striker Lionel Messi received his 4th European Golden Shoe Award for being the top scorer in Europe during the 2016-17 season. While accepting the award, Messi claimed he never considered himself a striker at the beginning of his career. He scored 37 league goals last season and received the award from teammate Luis Suarez, who won it last year with 40 strikes. The striker also received a Golden Heart as a recognition for his charity work. Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.